Good evening and welcome to the 2-minute warning. This is brand new for us right now. We're coming to you live from hashtag Let It Be Known studio live in Washington, D.C. as a part of the celebration of Black Press Month anniversary, 196 years of the Black Press. So we're going to play this thing by ear, just have a good time with some outstanding publishers and the president and CEO of the organization. And we're just going to talk about the importance of the Black press, where we came from, what we're doing, and where we're going. It just so happened to be that we're in a historic place here in DC at the Thurgood Marshall's building. So I want to invite Denise Rollart Barnes up, a publisher of the Washington Informer. I was about to say something else, We get a little nervous, and as the show goes, we tend to relax. So, Denise, come on and join us and share with us about this. Here we go.
Woo-hoo.
All right.
Can I get a little bit more light over here? I'm just joking. Just joking. No. I'm good. I only got a minute.
Couple of minutes.
Okay.
Denise, thank you.
My pleasure.
I know it was a last minute request. Put you on the spot, but you can have it.
I'm going to do my best.
Thank you. That's all I expect is your best. So tell us a little bit about this building we're in, Denise.
So I'm first of all, this is one of the most historic Black buildings in Washington, D.C. And I think folks know we are in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. We're on 12th Street Northwest. We're in the Thurgood Marshall Center. And this was one of the original Black YMCAs.
Wow.
Of course, it's named after Thurgood Marshall. If you go across the hall, you will get a chance to see what the center looked like, because, when Black folks moved to Washington, they didn't have places to stay. They couldn't stay in hotels unless they had, people that they knew. Folks came up from the South and they found you places to stay.
Right.
Even my mother came down from the North. She ended up at the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA. But this is the place where Black folks could stay when they were transitioning into the District of Columbia. And so it took, money from former enslaved people to help to build this, to help to support this building as a transition. And it has been, over the last couple of years, the home to a lot of Black organizations, not only NNPA, but the Concerned Black Men, NAACP Finance Center. I could probably name a few more that have been in this building. So it's a landmark in the District of Columbia. We're really proud to have this.
Wow, in our neck of the woods, the relationship with the YMCA in our particular neighborhood, if you will, the historic Sistrunk area, was not one of respect of the way you're speaking now. So this is quite different than what we are accustomed to coming from our YMCA, but times are changing.
Can I just share something? Because I had to look this up, because I didn't know this, but Sidney Pittman, who was the son-in-law of Booker T. Washington, was hired as the architect for this building. For this building? The groundbreaking ceremony was attended by hundreds of persons. Teddy Roosevelt laid the first cornerstone.
Teddy
Roosevelt laid the first cornerstone. And there's something I saw here that really interested me, but where the money came from to actually construct this building. And so it's been a labor of love. I mean, I think the board of directors, which Dr. Chavez is the chair of the board, I happen to be a member of the board. And so there's a lot, that we're trying to do to make sure that we can continue to pay for this building, because after, it went into disrepair for a while. And so folks have come back to revitalize this building. And I don't even think folks in the District of Columbia actually recognize the treasure that they have.
Yeah, as we were sitting here and listening to the other show, I could hear drumming coming from the auditorium there. So there's a lot of Afrocentric, a lot of pride, and a lot of remembering our history in this building.
It's accessible.
Mhm.
You know, people in the anywhere in the city, particularly Black organizations, need places where they can go that they can afford to either hold a meeting, hold a conference, have their dance rehearsals, to produce programs. And the Thurgood Marshall Center is one of those places, and it's affordable. It's in the center of
Yes,
the
it is.
city because we're just blocks away from the U Street corridor, which is Black Broadway in Washington. Anybody that came to Washington in the I'll say the 30s and the 40s, this is where Black folks came.
Okay, let me stop for a moment. To whom am I speaking with?
Denise.
Who are you? Come on, come on, come on. Who are you? Now, spewing all
I'm
this
your
knowledge.
buddy.
I know. But what do you do? Who are
Yeah,
you,
I'm
Denise?
Denise Rollard Barnes. I'm publisher, second generation publisher of the Washington Informer newspaper here in Washington, D.C. We're a 58-year-old publication trying to become, the retired publisher and bringing on the third generation of the Informer. But that's who I am, native Washingtonian, born, raised here, and love my city.
Okay, and that's one reason why we wanted to have this show here tonight, to highlight the history and the family foundation, if you would, about the Black press and the NNPA.
Mm-hmm.
Your father was a stalwart publisher here and didn't take no mess,
Mm-hmm.
and you're following right in line with what your father laid out.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I really love looking back on the history of the city.
Mhm.
And my father has definitely put his stamp on the city, as well as my stepmother, who served on the DC City Council for 16 years in the community in which I live. This is the home, as we talk about Black History Month in February. This is the home of Carter G. Woodson. He lived a couple of blocks from here, and now that's his home is turned into a historic place for people to go. National Park Service is running that location. It's going to open officially. So when it opens,
Okay.
we'll do the stories that all Black newspapers
Absolutely.
have, because we all should celebrate our father of Black history.
Proud Omega man.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know, Denise.
No, I think it's important to say that.
Yeah.
It is.
And honestly, the rich culture that we have, that we are in charge of as publishers, we should honor that, and cherish that to the utmost, and do what we can to make sure that history and that culture lives on.
I think it's important also for us to know that, for your viewers to know, if you're a walker, then you got to be a walker, because we're not that close. But if you're a walker, we're walking distance from Howard University.
Oh,
Okay, and that's where the Black Press Archives exist in the Moreland Spingarn Research Center there. And so our chairman and others have done great events to make sure that we put our publishers there in the Black Press Hall of Fame. That is also the place where the Black Press Archives exist. They just got $2 million to digitize our publications, and that's walking distance.
Let me ask you this, Denise. I'm glad you brought that up. So if I were visiting Washington, D.C., I could go to that archive place and actually go in and see some of these papers.
Exactly. It's in the library. It's
Okay.
the Founders Library at Howard. And so it's open to the public. You can go in, and if you're a researcher, which, hopefully some are, and you can go in and see some of the Black newspapers that are there. But you can also go downstairs and see some of the publishers who are enshrined here at Howard.
Let me ask you this. So the original copy of Freedom's Journal, is that in the archive there?
I think it is. I think it is. Yeah. I mean, it's so much that's in that archives. I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, it's interesting because my father's name is Calvin Rohart, and I have just really kind of delved into a publisher. I don't even know if he's in the archives, but William Calvin Chase, who was one of the publishers of the Washington Bee back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he was fierce. I mean, when we look
They
back at our
Christian than your
publishers,
father?
oh, I'm telling you, if you look back at our publishers, they were all really fierce publishers because they were came up and created newspapers in a time when, I mean, we have challenges, which are economic challenges. They had economic challenges. They had challenges, I mean, against their life and safety. But they did, they continued to publish. And I think this publication lasted for about 40, 50 years.
You see, and our readers and our viewers, please understand the hell that we caught, that our forefathers and foremothers caught, trying to be a voice and let the world know that we exist. So you owe it to yourselves to really support the Black press in all of its facets. So,
well, that's one thing I can say. I was over at Howard University, speaking with some students, and that was the thing about it. I think this generation of students coming out of our journalism schools, they don't know it, but I think that they are reflective of a generation past. They have a real connection to the Black press. They have a real appreciation for our history and what we've come through. And they have a vision for the Black press of the future. And so we're in a good place right now. If you take advantage of it. And those of you all who are not out there reading the Black press, you're missing out
on a whole lot of stuff.
I think great journalism that we're producing and
podcast, young folk doing their thing.
Yeah.
And we should be biased. Yeah. Okay.
Is it time for me to go?
Yeah, please.
All right.
We could do this all day.
We could.
Yeah.
And we will do it again.
We'll do it again.
Bobby, thank you so very much for having me. All right. What's next?
All right. Is Dr. Chavis?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay. This mic? Okay.
So just go ahead and sit there.
Okay. Okay. I'll leave this for the gentleman. Let me see if we can get. Can we get?
You can sit there.
Okay.
Bobby Henry.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we still live, right? Okay. We can. Okay.
Talk into the mic.
All right. Dr. Chavis, I want to thank you very much for taking time out your busy schedule. And I know that you run a hectic schedule. You're everywhere. And you never cease to amaze me of your level of energy and all the places you are almost at the same time. I want to call you Jesus, but that might mess up things. So,
well, thank you, Bobby Henry. And every time I see you, I'm reminded of your father. As all the publishers who have been on tonight have reminded us, we're intergenerational. We've all inherited a great opportunity, a great responsibility, not just to reflect back on the past, but certainly to understand it. I think we should always learn from our history, not necessarily repeat it. And this year marks the 196th year of the Black press of America. Since March 16th, 1827, when Russ Warm and Cornish defied the public expectations in New York City with publishing Freedom's Journal. And if you go back and look at the front page of Freedom's Journal 196 years ago, the issues are still the same in 2023. The issues of equality, the issues of justice, the issues of economic development, the issues of Black-owned businesses, the issues of our relationship to Africa. It was on the front page of Freedom's Journal.
And
196 years ago. And we're still wrestling with that. But I would say, I want to talk about the progress that we've made.
Okay.
Not just, sometimes I think we disproportionately focus on our hardships, our frustrations, our pains, and those are real. But God has blessed us. God has blessed the Black press. The Black press came out of the Black church.
Yes, sir.
So, these institutions, I remind our young people today that we have to build infrastructure to keep the movement alive. We have to build businesses to keep the movement alive. We have to build communities to keep the movement alive. We have to build families to keep the movement alive. We have to build a people that are conscious of our blessings. That's why we fight for freedom, justice, and equality. That's why we don't accept injustice. That's why we don't accept some second or third place. You know, we should be up front, given that we helped build what is now known as the United States of America. We were not immigrants. We were builders. You know, we came here in chains. We were enslaved. We were not slaves. We were enslaved. And out of that enslavement, and I know you're the host,
But no, Doc,
so I'm gonna be quiet.
I get
because I want to
we get
hear
caught
from
up.
you.
We get caught up in the historical part of what we do. And when we have an opportunity to touch history, to put our hands on history, we don't want to take them off.
I understand.
You know, so when you engage us in conversation, you're engaging from the point of knowing, you know, being a part of it.
Well, let
You
me
didn't just
share.
start here.
Let me share what I did today
Mhm.
on behalf of the Black press. I went to AARP. They have a big building here in Washington, D.C., led by a Black woman, president and CEO. And I had an opportunity to interview the Reverend Dr. Bernice King,
Okay.
Dr. King's youngest daughter, who's a minister. She's running the King Center. And we just kind of kicked it because, you know, I worked with Dr. King when I was a teenager. I was the youngest person on SCLC staff from 1963 to 1968 when Dr. King was killed. And I've seen Bernice grow up. And I reminded her that Coretta Scott King, Bernice King, and myself sat together at Mandela's inauguration in 1994 in South Africa. And as we sat there watching all these people come from around the world to Mandela's inauguration, I reminded her that something then Mandela, but later became President Mandela, said to me when I invited him to the NAACP in 1993. This is a year before he became president. He said, because, you know, he spent 27 years
In prison.
unjustly in prison. When I think of the years I spent that's dwarfs, you know, the 6 years I spent as a Wilmington 10 political prisoner. He spent 27 years. But the point I'm bringing this up, Mandela said to me that his release from prison and his running to be the first African president of South Africa in a post-apartheid situation reminded him of Martin Luther King's dream. So, and then most of us think about Dr. King's dream as something domestic, but it was actually global.
Yes.
You know, and when I think about the Black press, I'm not just thinking about what has happened to us for 196 years inside the United States of America. The Black press during World War I sent journalists to Europe to cover World War I. The Black press sent journalists to cover World War II. The Black press sent journalists to all the Olympics. The Black press sent journalists outside of the United States as well as in the United States to cover the African liberation movements. And so, in a sense, as we affirm our presence, our mission today, I want us to not limit ourselves just to what is happening domestically. And that is why tomorrow at the State of the Black Press Luncheon, sponsored by the National Newspaper Publishers Association, we're announcing the NNPA World News app, where we're aggregating Black news in Africa. We're aggregating Black news in Brazil. We're aggregating Black news in the Caribbean. We're aggregating Black news in Europe. We got Black people who live in China. We don't hardly know about it.
Well, now that's gonna
And then linking it with what we do. You're here at the West Side Gazette in Fort Lauderdale, you know, and you got a lot of brothers and sisters from the islands in your community.
Yes,
we need to make sure that we don't let these false divisions of where we may have been born divide us. Or our cultural traditions.
You're full of wisdom, man.
What I'm saying is
the truth.
This is an opportunity for us to be brought
Mm-hmm.
together, but we have to assert who it is we are, and we have to control our own narrative. Pleading our own cause is just not pleading what we want, it's pleading who we are. Pleading our own cause is determining our pathway to economic independence, to economic self-sufficiency, and to economic sustainability. Pleading our own cause is raising up a generation
Yes,
of
sir.
freedom fighters in 2023.
Yes, sir.
Pleading our own
Yes,
cause
sir.
is to make sure that our businesses stay viable. You know, this is not charity. You know, we're not asking for benevolence. We're asking for investment, where the return on investment is the sustainability of our businesses.
Woo! Yes, sir. Dr. Benjamin Franklin Chavis Jr. I don't know if we should pass the plate now, or get in contact with our brothers over in China, you know, but we certainly appreciate all the hard work that you're doing, and we hope that we can hold up just an inkling to what you have established.
Well, thank you very much, and
Mhm.
God bless you, Bobby Henry, and God bless the Black Press of America. I'm privileged. I remember Clovis Campbell 10 years ago asked me to contemplate, you know, putting in an application to work for the NNPA.
Mhm.
Even though I had written for the NNPA, you know, many years, I thought it was an honor, you know, to be able to work with these publishers. And I've learned so much from the Black press, you know, and I think that the future of the Black press, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
There's more need for the Black press in America, the Black press in the world today than it was 196 years ago. There's more need, you know, and more opportunity for us to overcome, to override, and to push forward to help shape a better future for our people, for our communities. And actually, the history shows that every inch of progress that we've made is ignored benefit to everybody.
That's right.
Everybody benefits
Yes, sir.
when Black people make to freedom, justice, and equality.
Thank you. Thank you. Salute to continuity.
I look to continuity.
Yes,
Struggle
sir. Struggle
continues.
continue.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Chavis.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Now what I want to do, I want to bring up two publishers, and these two publishers actually have given their lives and almost lost their lives in doing what they do. So if we can have Karen Carter Richards and Clovis Campbell come up, please. Yes, I did. Come on, Clovis. It's the truth. No, that's what we do. We tell the truth. We tell the truth. No, we tell the truth. How y'all like? You like the way I slid that in there? You know, yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. First of all, let me just say, I thank God for both of you. You know, it's been one hell of a ride. And Clovis, you know, you just came around.
Absolutely.
We thank God for that.
Thank you. Thank you all for your prayer.
Absolutely. And Karen, you know, you had a bout there yourself
5 years ago.
5 years ago. And both of you were sitting in position of publishers. You know, so that's why I said literally, you know, giving your lives to this struggle. Okay. So Madam Chairman, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Karen Carter Richards, second generation publisher. My family's been a part of NNPA for now maybe almost 55 plus years. My mother served in the organization. My father, I found out through reading Forward Times. I'm the publisher of Forward Times newspaper in Houston, Texas. I found out through reading our archives that my father, in June of 1970, held the position of first vice chair in NNPA. I never knew that, but he died like January of 1971. So he only served in the capacity of probably of several months. My mother served in NNPA as treasurer and secretary for many years. And now I am the chairman of the board of NNPA.
Yes, you are.
I feel like they would be very proud of that. And I've served now as chairman the last June will be 8 years. No, I mean 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Okay.
And so I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, we were proud of you too, Karen. Mr. Campbell, welcome back, man.
It's good to be back.
Man, it's good to see you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you, Clovis.
Wow. Well, you know, like Karen, I'm a second generation publisher. My father was actually also a board member in the early 70s of NNPA. And so now I'm the publisher of the Arizona Informant newspaper, which has been around for 51 years, thank God. And we've been a member of NNPA all of that time. As soon as we were able to become members, we became members. And so my father, who was a former state legislator, the first black state senator in Arizona, thought that he couldn't get his news in any other publication. So he started his own newspaper. And
That sounds familiar. That's the way we do it.
and so when you talk about, and you and Dr. Chavis and Karen talk about the rich history of NNPA, every one of our member publications has that. I tried to continue that history. I served in the state legislature for a few years as well. I served in this organization as a board member for several years and still do. And I served as chairman prior to Denise coming in. So it's been a long ride, and it's been a good ride. But most of all, it's been a very educational ride. And I amaze myself at how much history we see when we see our publishers, and how much history we have when we start talking to each other and talking about our past, our families, and what we have working for us to get into the future.
You know, I can remember when we came in. When we came in. So it is true. That's right, Karen. It is true. And now we're looking back, and Denise too. Hell, we were at the Buttes. Was it the Buttes in Arizona, and this hotel in the mountain where we were, plotting and trying to get ourselves on the map. So the NNPA is a family-oriented organization, and we believe in that. So,
absolutely.
Karen, if you had one thing that you would want our viewers and listeners to know about the Black press, what would that be? And Clovis, I'm gonna ask you the same question, so get ready. Mm-hmm.
What I would want to know.
Mm-hmm.
As many of us know and have said, that the Black press is even more important today as it has been for so many years. We need our community to support us more than they do. And I think we have a job to do as far as making ourselves more accessible to the community, promoting ourselves. I don't think we promote ourselves enough, but the Black press is very important, and we've been around 196 years, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Okay. CC.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Same question, bro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you think about who we are and how proud I am of being a part of the Black press, I think about some of the things that Dr. Chavis said. And like he said, when I came in here, we were just in this building in one room. And from the expansion that we've had, from the decision that we made to be in this building, is all about what the Black press stands for. So I'm looking forward to us being more creative. I know that people wrote the Black press off when all of this digital property started to come into play. And the best thing that we can say about the Black press and our Black community is that people have never seen themselves in a print magazine or newspaper. Now, anybody can be on social media and take a picture, and they even got a show called A Dog with a Blog.
The dog with a blog.
A dog with a blog. But when you have that picture of yourself, or you see your people in your newspaper, and they come to your office and ask for extra 200 copies because their picture is in that newspaper, that's what the Black press in history is all about.
Can I say one more thing?
You most certainly can, Madam Chair.
Is that I have nothing against social media. We need social media. But one thing about it, the Black press, we are recording our history every day. And I see a lot of people putting everything into the different social media, different, platforms. But if you say something wrong, they can lock you out at any time.
Anytime.
You are never locked out of the Black press.
Say it, why don't you?
Are never locked out. And so I hope our community can get back to, because we are covering their news. I hope they'll get back to supporting the Black press. And we're here over 240 plus papers strong. We have online papers now. And so, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both very much. All right.
Hey, man,
you can go now. Y'all can
go.
go.
I do have to say, man, you are as clean as a Safeway chitlin.
Not a Safeway chitlin.
Only the Black press of America.
Clovis Campbell, Karen Carter Richards. Thank you very much. Now we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Where's my classmate? I'm gonna save my classmate for later on. That's my classmate from FAMU. I want to bring up two extraordinary writers who have allowed their talents to be pinned in the pages of black newspapers, and I like to say, I'll save that for later on. So, but if we can bring up Stacey Brown and Jeffrey Boney, please.
See, I'm like them. I wasn't expecting this either.
No, that's okay. Read through the pages of Black history in the black newspaper. That's what I wanted to say.
Two minutes. The 2 minute warning.
Yeah, we here. Yeah.
Bobby,
Okay.
Bobby just be
What?
picking people out the audience.
Oh yeah, man. That's what
He
you
like,
gotta do.
remember the Price is Right? Richard Dawson does
Come on
kiss
down.
people.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he kissed them on the lips too.
Ain't gonna do that here.
No,
No,
that'll be the kiss
none
of
of
death.
that.
So we good? We ready? We still on? We live, right? We're here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and viewers and what have you. I'm sitting between two bookends, and I say that literally. Both things that hold books together, right? Those are bookends, yeah. But these are live bookends that really retain that which they hold up. So it's a privilege of two award-winning writers and contributors to the Black press, Stacey Brown and Jeffrey Boney. So Stacey, I'm gonna start with you. Okay, what is it that pushes you or draws you or keep you tied to the Black press?
Well, it's interesting because I have this conversation with Denise. Like she says, you turn out so many articles, and you work, pretty much all the time. And my motto or mantra is that I don't want to be Wally pipped. So Wally Pipp was the first baseman for the New York Yankees until he got hurt. And he took a day off, and then of course Lou Gehrig took his place, and Lou Gehrig set the record for the most consecutive games played in history until Cal Ripken came along. So I don't want to be Wally Pipped.
You see what I said about the bookends? You see, this is evident. He just rallying this stuff. Yeah.
But coming to work for the Black, Denise actually, it's all her fault that I'm here. She got me into this, and it was 10 years ago, January 2nd. 2013. She sent me out in the cold of Washington, D.C. It was freezing, Bobby. I had never been so cold in my life. Trying to cover the deltas. They had their it was the anniversary of their suffrage. Right.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I was out there running around Capitol Hill trying to impress Denise so she can keep me. And that was 10 years ago. It worked. And then she said one day, she says, you should do something for NNPA. And that was almost 10 years ago, and we haven't stopped.
Wow, man. And I'm glad you have it. Mr. Boney.
Sir.
I remember one night in particular, there was a lot of awards being given out. And I think, you would leave and come back and leave and come back because you received so many awards. What is it, Mr. Boney, that drives you to stay connected to the Black press?
Two simple things for me: telling the story itself and making a difference. Telling stories that other people otherwise wouldn't hear about if not for me, if not for the Black press. I'm honored to be here with Stacey Brown, who I look up to, and his journalistic prowess, and the fact that we're able to put information out to the community that people probably otherwise wouldn't know about if it wasn't for us. And so for me, it's an honor to be able to pen anything to make a difference, and to know that there's articles that I've written that have led to cases going to the Supreme Court, people being exonerated, people being removed from the guardianship program. It's just, I can go on and on and on, but I'm empowered also historically by those that came before me. I'm a student of history, so I really look at people like Ida B. Wells, Richard Allen, and people like Frederick Douglass and others. I can go on and on. But
You said something, Jeffrey. So which clicked my mind. What one story that stands out the most in your mind that you covered and made a difference with? And Stacey, I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's very that's tough.
Challenging.
I tell you one that stands out to me, top of mind. Lady named Doris Davis, African American female, had a migraine headache. Called the 911 and complained about it. Went to the hospital. Got picked up by the ambulance. Took her to the hospital. A doctor came in, assessed her, and stated that she was incompetent. She was mentally incompetent, and put her into a mental institution that particular next day. And she had no relatives that were alive. No, she wasn't married, no children. And so she was practically by herself. And so they preyed upon her, I believe, I know, and put her into this mental institution. They assessed her as like, she didn't belong here. But at that point, because she was deemed to be indigent, she was made a ward of the state. And so they took away all her rights and privileges. And so through my writing and advocacy, got the community engaged and involved. We showed up to the courtroom. There were protests held. She got removed from the institution that she was in, and then got removed from the long-term, what do you call it, the care facility, adult care facility she was in. They had taken away her right to vote, took her bank account, all her assets. They seized everything. And this happens all across the United States. It's not mutually exclusive to African Americans, but a lot of it impacts people of color, particularly African Americans, because we don't have lawyers or money to purchase or acquire lawyers or retain lawyers. So we were able to fight for her. We were able to get her voting rights restored, give her access to her bank accounts, and actually get removed from that. And she got put in. We wanted to have her put back into her house, but they had already taken that from her and sold it. By the time we were able to actually get that reversed, but she was able to end out the rest of her days in an actual house and not, in one of the institutions.
Okay, Mr. Brown. Same. I don't want to think for you, but one jump out is Bill Cosby. But who was
well, it's not Bill Cosby, but what stands out to me much more than that is the missing black girls story. Nobody was talking about missing black girls, and Natalie Wilson and her sister runs the Black and Missing sister-in-law runs the Black and Missing Foundation, and they had been around for over 10 years, and they had been bringing attention or trying to bring attention to the cause of missing black girls. And we decided, never forget, I was sitting with Dr. Chavis and I said, that should be our thing. And Dr. Chavis said, go get it, go do it. And we brought so much attention to it. It turns out that 2 years ago, HBO decided to do a special documentary with the Black and Missing Foundation, Natalie and her sister. I don't know why I keep forgetting her sister's name, but it became a documentary, and they won some awards for the documentary. And it all traces back to the Black press, because the Black press decided to do something about it. And it makes me realize too, because I did a lot of work in mainstream, worked for the LA Times, NBC News, but it makes me realize the power of the Black press and the good work we can do. A little side note too, Steve Larkin. Now he's not a journalist, right? He's our ad guy, right? What about ad guy?
Don't steal my thunder.
No, but you gotta hear this.
I got you. Don't say nothing about
it. He and I, during one of our conventions, the Black Press conventions a few years ago, we actually got somebody out of prison because we were the Black Press. We wrote a letter. The judge read the letter in the court. Steve and I worked on that letter. It was after midnight.
So Steve wasn't in prison.
No. No. Steve was hip to somebody who was locked up and apparently obviously unjustly. And the judge actually read our letter in court and released that person.
Wow. Well, to both of you guys, I hope that connection, that umbilical cord that ties your heartstrings to the black press, that it never gets severed, that it remains. So I thank you, and
Can I say one thing?
sure you can.
You know, we're talking about the 196
There you
years
go.
of the black press. And I just want to say that, you know, I talked about some of these people earlier, but you think about Ida B. Wells, who was one of the owners of the Memphis Free Press. She wrote about some of the things that were pivotal at that time, lynching and things of that nature. You know, a lot of the injustice. Of course, she was prior to Rosa Parks. She fought via a lawsuit and won on a train car that she was made to move from. So there's a lot of history there. You think about the North Star and Frederick Douglass, and you know, of course, the advocacy that he had through his writings and anti-lynching and anti-slavery efforts. And you think about Richard Allen, like I said, the founder of the AME Church,
Right.
who you know, was talking about the ministry during the yellow fever epidemic and also lynching and stuff. So there was a lot of things that they used their writing and their influence and that press to be able to shine the light, not just for black people to know about, but for non-black people, particularly whites, to know that this was an issue so that they could gain favor and curry favor with the abolitionists and people that actually could co-sign and align with black people's plight and what it is that was important to us. And I think that right now, today in 2023, we see all the stuff that's happening. We see what's happening in your state of Florida with DeSantis. We see across the United States, you know, there's a lot of things that are attacking black people, our voting rights, and health, and all kind of different areas, education. We are more important now than ever, I believe, because we have some major issues. They may not be lynching, although there is some of that still going on, but there is lynching in a different way. And we have to be the voice of those that can't speak for themselves, and will continue to shine a light on the issues today.
Okay. Well, we certainly appreciate both of you and your comments and your writings. So please, as I said, do not allow that umbilical cord to be severed by any means necessary.
There you
So
go.
thank you. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Bobby.
Preach.
No. He was,
That's the
that was
2-minute
before me.
warning.
That's 2-minute warning. Yeah. Now I want to take a different turn. Yep. Yeah, the black press is important, and we need certain things to keep us operating in business. Yeah, we need our readers, and then we need advertising dollars. So with that, I want to bring up one of our advertising sales people, and that is Mr. Stevie Larkin. So come on up, Stevie.
Been waiting.
You've been waiting?
Been waiting.
Okay.
Get close to the mic.
Mhm.
Okay. Pull it close.
Okay, Stevie is no stranger to the black press. Stevie started out in South Carolina with a brother by the name of Isaac Washington. Isaac published what was South Carolina? Black News, South Carolina Black News. And Stevie was there with Mr. Washington, selling advertising, and when he could, take a chicken from here or there to make some things happen. And now he made his way up to the big league with the NNPA.
I'm excited. Happy to be here.
So Stevie, what motivates you to go out every day and try to get these advertisers to spend money in the Negro newspapers, as you call them?
Well, it just incites me. I get excited. White America has tremendous opportunity and the responsibility to do what's right. And everybody's trying to reach the black consumer. And the best way to reach the black consumer is through black media and black news.
How long you been doing this, Stevie?
Maybe about 3 years, going on 30. But and as Stacy said, something was going on one evening after a convention in New York or somewhere, and this girl's son was incarcerated. And we wrote a letter. We got to thinking about it. We wrote a letter. The judge read it in court, and he got out of jail. And Stacy said, I can't believe that. But it don't cost a penny to be kind. You know, see, not all about looking for money. Hyundai wants to sell vehicles, Toyota wants to sell vehicles.
Mhm.
Ford wants to sell vehicles. So when I go in there, I might have some statistics on how many black people are driving these vehicles. They won't know why we got to do business with you. It's like talking to somebody who sells chicken. And black people do
Eat
like they
chicken.
eat chicken. So I'm in there with Mr. Chicken. And Mr. Chicken say, well, y'all gonna eat chicken anyway, so why do I have to
Mhm.
advertise with you? It just makes good sense. And being in Washington, D.C., I'm excited. One person I like to meet is General Lloyd Austin III,
Mhm.
Secretary of Defense. Before I take it back, I add some more to it.
Mhm. Tell me about Mr. Lord Austin.
Secretary of Defense, African Americans are in the Army. We need more African Americans in the Army. We need more African Americans in the Air Force. We need more in the Navy. And so what they should do is advertise with black media so you can get a career
Mhm.
in defense, in the military. Department of Health and Human Services serve not only people of color, but everybody. They need to spend more money with us. Housing, urban development, HUD. And President Biden is 100% in agreement with me
Mhm.
on this. That's a fact. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay, yeah, and then my thing is, Stevie, and this is the West Side Gazette's 2-minute warning show, so I can say this. I need you to go after Walgreens. You know, yeah, Walgreens has this position where they listen to a certain entity, and that entity comes from the state of Florida. A little short guy, but he wear high heel boots to try to make himself look big, and his mantra is like his buddy. 45.
He
got big ears.
Okay.
Like 45 mantra was, you know, about fake news. You know, that was his defense. He get us over there and use his defense to come back. And this gentleman with the high heel boots on, his mantra is kill woke. You know, Florida is the place where woke comes to die. You know, but he has this connection with these drug companies and these stores that they're not going to sell this particular medicine to do away with abortions. You know, yes. But the thing is, they have bowed down to this particular entity. So if we got people who have been raped, molested, incest,
whatever,
you know, that need, you know, from
that
a
medication.
Yeah. So I need you to go out to Walgreens, man, and tell everybody that look like us don't shop in Walgreens.
I'm glad you said that because these publishers sitting
and they're in the black neighborhood. Yes.
Making money.
Yeah, making money.
African Americans.
Yes, it's time for
I'm
that.
glad you said it.
Yeah.
The publishers that are sitting here, we're going to discuss this week
Mhm.
so we can formulate a plan, and we just run it on our front pages throughout America.
Mhm.
And just
PK, you hear
let
that,
them
man?
know.
PK, you got the story working?
And just let them know that
Sam, you got the
we're
story
not
working?
we're not gonna settle for what's left no more.
Mhm.
We're gonna stand for what's right.
Mhm. Okay. Mr. Larkin,
Mr. Henry,
thank you so very much for joining us. And thank you.
save the best for last.
I need there's two things I want to do. And that these two, thank you, Steve.
All right.
These two ladies. We got one lady from Malcolm X's area, right? Right. That's doing some stuff there way in the past the Midwest. It's on the other side. You are the Midwest. Okay. And then we got Baby Doll, my classmate from Florida A&M University, Miss Cheryl Smith. So if you two ladies can come up and join us, please. I know we got.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Miss Sanders, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Where you from?
I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, they got black people in
They
Omaha.
got black people in Omaha, and it's more than just my family.
Oh, okay. What's happening in Omaha?
Everything.
Okay, tell us about what you just with something.
Say what now? I'm sorry. My name is Terry D. Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I am the publisher of the Omaha Star newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
The Omaha Star in 2023 is 85 years old.
Congratulations. That's a yes.
It was started July the 9th, 1938 by a lady named Mildred Brown.
Mhm.
And I am the 5th publisher of that paper, and all the publishers have been Black women.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
that's,
Told you we had something going on.
yes, you do. That's a great thing. But you just I sent you a congratulatory something you just did. What was that you got? You got your building redone. It was something.
Oh,
Yeah. Mhm.
our state legislature has proposed to give some ARPA money.
Mhm.
And there were 367 proposals, and 37 proposals were chosen from that to go forward in the process. And the proposal for the Omaha Star was one of them.
Right. Right. Congratulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
We haven't got the money yet.
That's all right. It's coming.
Okay.
We're gonna
Okay.
we're gonna claim it.
You passed the plate.
All right. We were founded by a preacher, so we're gonna claim it. Hey, Cheryl Smith, what's happening?
Hello, classmate.
How
hey,
are
Rattler.
you? Hey, how are you?
Great.
Okay, now I understand that you. How many papers do you have, Cheryl?
3.
3.
Yes.
Miss Thelma Gorham taught you something, did she?
Yes.
Mhm.
And she would have taught you too if you had come to class.
Okay.
Bobby Henry didn't have to come to
Okay,
class
there you go.
because his daddy had a newspaper.
Well, there you go.
So-
You got one. Okay, Cheryl, tell us something about your newspapers.
I'm Cheryl Smith, and I'm the publisher of Texas Metro News, Garland Journal, and iMessenger. And I'm a Florida A&M University graduate, where I met this fine young man,
Thank you.
upstanding, who went to class all the time. And we're trying to make a difference. The Black Press, I started in the Black Press. I was attending Florida Publishers Association meetings with your dad and Charles Cherry and a bunch of folks in Florida. And they all wanted to hire me. I wanted to work for the West Side Gazette, but Mr. Levi Henry said, I got to put my son to work. So I didn't get the job.
You know, and the NNPA is run by women, strong Black women. You know, so we are
Yes.
forever indebted to you, ladies.
Awesome.
You know, so what is it? What is it, Miss Sanders? What is it that makes you wake up every day and go into the office and do your job as a publisher of a Black newspaper?
It is important. If the Omaha Star doesn't tell the story about Black people, then who's going to tell it? I know we laugh about, are there Black people in Nebraska? Yes.
Yeah.
And those people, we people, I should say, have a story to tell. Some of the greatest people in journalism have come from Omaha. Right here in Washington, D.C., Kathy Hughes started in the Omaha Star newspaper office. Her father was the first Black accounting student to graduate from Creighton University, and he did everybody's books in the hood. Everybody. And so Kathy started with advertising in the Omaha Star, and now she has a street named after her in Omaha, Kathy Hughes Boulevard. And so Mrs. Brown gave people an opportunity. And when I was in school, I had no idea I'd be sitting where I am today. That I said kind of sideways once, I'd like to be the publisher of that paper. And I went on down the street. But now here I am. And so it is important to me to get up, to get there, to be consistent, and be there when people come by. A lady's daughter published a book, and it was on Amazon. And she called me, well, Miss Sanders, can that be in the paper? Yes, ma'am. Send me her picture. We have had several people in prominent positions. I put them right up there in the paper. Somebody said, well, why is so-and-so in the paper? Because they've done something. We do something called Family of the Week, which is very important. That was something that Mrs. Brown always did. It kind of slid back and took a back seat, but I brought it back. And you wouldn't believe how many papers you sell when somebody sees they little Jimmy in the paper,
Mm-hmm.
and they send it to their mom and daddy, and they send it to their cousins and Uncle Leroy, and everybody has a paper. And so Karen said that it is important for our community to support us. Now, in Omaha, there are 500,000 people. 11% are Black. I only want 5,000 people to subscribe to the paper, minimum. If 5,000 people subscribe to our paper, that would take care of any financial things that we had going on. But we have to get out there, as you said, and we have to talk about it. And people always say, I saw you on TV again. You sure did.
Mhm.
I'm a PR major in school. And so I know the power of telling the story over and over and over again and tell it in different ways. I understand the importance of the printed newspaper. I understand the importance of digital. I also understand the importance of things like this, a podcast, a video cast, a 2-minute warning, all those things. You have to reach everybody. And everybody doesn't like to read. Some people are digital. So meet me over on the digital space. I do something every morning called Omaha Star Morning News Bites. It's less than 3 minutes, but it's consistent.
Okay, very good, Cheryl. Now, I've seen you morph into a lot of positive stuff. You got one hell of a newsletter, and that's eye catching. I've learned so much about Dick Gregory from some of your coverage. You're community minded based, So tell us what made you or led you to publishing 3 newspapers, one hell of a newsletter, and still have time to enjoy your life.
Who said I did? No, really. No, that's a good question. Let me just tell you what my sister said that was really important. People get to see little Johnny or Jamal or Joaquin and not looking like a mugshot.
Locked up, yes.
All right. And that's what a lot of publications were doing with us. And every day I get up and I think about how easy I have it, as opposed to, I just don't know if I could have been there with Harriet Tubman. I don't know if I could have been on a plantation because, look at me. And they would have wanted me and they would have had their way, and no, they would have, but just think, and it's not about, it was about power and control for them. But, you just think about what our ancestors had to deal with. And so every day that I get up, I have to make a difference. And I make a difference by trying to do something to make my people proud. And see, some of us, and I told Stacy still here, I told him that we are going to start in my publications, we're going to start actually showing the Carolyn Donhams. We're going to start showing the George Zimmermans, because people know the crime, but they don't remember who the perpetrator was. And so I want to embarrass their descendants. I want them to see, because people forget about them. They forget about the judges who sat in and made decisions that incarcerated our people wrongfully. So just like they showed mugshots of our brothers and sisters, I want to show their pictures. I want for them, since your governor in Florida and
but don't forget about
Chairwoman Karen's. That's how I say Chairwoman Karen and Jeff's governor in Texas. Since they are doing the crazy and talking about critical race theory, we have to bring it as a Black press. We have to bring it to our publications. You don't want to talk about it? We're going to talk about it. So we want to show those faces. We want to show the savages that drug James Byrd in Texas. Because we forget about those people, and you remember Trayvon Martin, but do you remember what George Zimmerman? If he has children, if he has grandchildren, when he has grandchildren or whatever, I want them to go to school, come home crying because they saw my paper and saw him in there, and that's
That's some powerful stuff.
That's what we have
it
to
is.
do.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to teach it. If they don't want to teach it in the schools, we have to teach it on our pages. So it's hard because we all know that all ice is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but the people we are working for don't know. They don't seem to know, and so it's a challenge. And so it's wonderful when someone does come and say, I like what you're doing, because we're doing it for them. This isn't for the faint-hearted. Being a publisher of a
Black newspaper is not for the faint of
black
heart. You're right.
business, and then even all of you, I bet you get calls at your publications at people asking for information. Folks want to know who are what insurance company, who's a good attorney, who's a funeral home to go to. But guess what? A lot of those businesses, yes, a lot of those businesses don't even advertise with us. But we go and we support them. And so you just have to realize it, just like with the wonderful Harriet Tubman. I'm sure there were some people who did not need to be brought to freedom. But guess what? You had to take them or worry about them, tell them. So you're going to take some good with the bad. And so if I can enlighten our people, enlighten our communities, and enlighten the world, because I'll tell you one thing about other folks, they will write letters and they will call and tell you if they like what you're doing. And if you're doing good journalism, color does not matter in that instance, because people will pick it up. And for those who think that that others are not reading our publications, yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
They read it more than Black folks do. And so that's really important. So that's what keeps me going. I started at a young age.
No.
And no, because when I was in high school, I wrote my first story for newspaper. I thought I was going into sports. And but I transitioned and moved around, but I stayed with the Black press because this is where I wanted to be, because nobody can do it better than we can.
Okay, our time is run down.
How could it run down? This is your time. This is our time. We have this platform.
You see why there are women in charge of. They make you want to work overtime. But on a serious note, for those of us who labor under the need for a community to be heard, for those of us who have cried and sobbed on blood-soaked cotton pillows, where our tears stain the pillowcase, because they are tears of wanting to be free, wanting our people to be free. For those of us who have felt the bitter bites of slavery and injustice in days where we thought that it was over, and we find ourselves under the demanding psychological imps and governors who, for a lesser term, want to be men but are not. For those of us who work for nothing but the love of our people, may we never, ever allow our pens to be emptied from the ink that flows like blood on our newspapers to tell our stories and to record our history in the pages of Black newspapers. Let us remember those who shoulders we stand on and the work that we're doing. God bless the Black press for the past 196 years and for whatever he has in store for the future to keep us in his keeping hands. Thank you all. God bless you, and join us again next week for the West Side Gazette's 2-minute warning with Baby Doll and Miss Sanders.
Good night.
That's it. Thank y'all.